Let's look at where we left earlier. So we were looking at the 4 pillars of effective communication, that is in terms of pronunciation. We learnt about pronunciation and pronunciation in terms of consonant sounds. So I gave you certain examples like these, how it changes even though the first letter is different, how it changes, and that is essentially because of the consonant sounds. We also went through examples of vowel sounds. I'm going to sift through what we covered, and I also explained to you how you break a word into consonant sounds and vowel sounds. This is to help you pronounce words accurately without any mistakes, because as you know, a shift in sound can lead to shift in understanding because of a shift in meaning as well. So today we are going to look at syllable and syllable stress. What do we mean by syllable? Syllable, a unit of pronunciation carrying one vowel sound with or without surrounding consonants, forming the whole or a part of a word. So we looked at certain examples: pen, pencil, 2 syllables; computer, 3 syllables; technology, 4 syllables; technology, 4 syllables. But the way I am pronouncing the word like technology, instead of saying technology, I am saying technology, because I am stressing on one particular syllable. That exactly what is called a syllable stress, which means if a word has multiple syllables, let me show you certain examples. If I have a word which is biology, let me zoom it a bit so that it's clearly visible to you. All right. So how many syllables do I have here? I have biology, 4 syllables. Bi or law G, right? So let me mark it that there are 4 syllables. So out of these 4 syllables, I am supposed to stress on a particular syllable. That's exactly what syllable stress is all about. For example, in this case, I will stress on O, and I'll pronounce that biology. All right. For example, if I have the word which is, can I say photography? No. I need to pronounce this into proper syllable, which is photography. So there are 4 syllables, photography, but I will stress on the second syllable, and the pronunciation will be photography. All right. If I have a word which is location, so the syllable lo, cation, which means it has only 3 syllables, location, and I will stress on the second syllable, which is location. So why am I stressing on the second syllable sometimes on the third syllable or the first syllable? So for example, if I have a word which is panic, so there are 2 syllables here, pa and nick. So when I have a word which has 2 syllables, I am stressing on the first syllable in this particular case, panic. Why am I doing that? Are there rules to it? Yes, there are. So let's look at the syllable and syllable stress, how it changes the meaning as well. So the first one is project, because I'm stressing on the second syllable, project, and the second word is project. So either I say project or I say project, there is a difference. All right. So what do we mean by syllable stress? In linguistics, stress is a relative emphasis that may be given to certain syllables in a word. So what are the rules? So there are certain rules. So one is called penultimate rule and the second one is called antepenultimate rule. Now pay attention to this particular design that I have put together. The rule basically pertains to the word ending. If your word ends with any of these 5 words. Now let me give you example of each one of them. All right. So the word endings. So there is IC, IOUS, EOUS, SION, TION. What do we mean by word ending? For example, I have the word which is magic. All right. For example, I have the word which is precious. I have the word gorgeous. I have the word which is confusion. And here I have the word location, pretty much the example that I gave you. The rule says if you have words that ends with any of these word endings, so the star mark are the word endings. Okay? Please pay closer attention. The star here is the word ending. The stress, the red is, these are all the syllables. Okay? Till the red mark or the red dot, these are the syllables. The rule says of penultimate means second, last but one or second last. That's the word we use, penultimate. If your word ends with any of these endings, the stress should be on the second last syllable. I repeat, the rule says if you have word ending with any of these endings, like IC, for example, magic, IOUS, precious, EOUS, gorgeous, SION, confusion, TION, location, station, motion, lotion, all these words. Any word that ends with TION. If you have any word ending with any of these, the syllable stress will be on the second last syllable. Let's take example for each one of these. All right. So let's move on. So I'm going to begin with IC. All right. Now let's take at least 2 examples for each of these word endings. Say for example, I have the word which is tragic. Now the syllable, how many syllables do I have? Tragic, right? The rule says, here we go, let me put it on slide mode. The rule says if you have any word with IC, the syllable stress will be on the second last from the, you need to count from the right side. Second last will take the stress, which means, oops, just a moment. This particular word, let me close the slides that I don't really need now. All right. So which is the second last syllable? This is my second last syllable, and I will say tragic. If I have more than 2 syllables in a word, all right, say for example, catastrophic. How many syllables do I have? Catastrophic. I still have IC as my word ending. Now the rule says I need to stress on the second last. So this is my last syllable. This is my last syllable. I will focus on tra. That's why I pronounce this as catastrophic. Alright. So my second last syllable will take the stress. Let's take the next example. I am going to close the windows that I don't need now. So this will be easier for me to explain to you. All right. The next one is IOUS. If I have a word which has IOUS, for example, precious. How many syllables I have? Precious. It's not precious, it's precious. Since I am supposed to focus on the second last syllable, so my stress will be on PRE, precious. Alright. For example, the word which is conscious. I have two syllables, conscious. Now the spelling is incorrect, it doesn't really make sense, so let me change this. I will go to the next one, EOUS. Let me break it down. Gorgeous. So obviously I will focus on the second last syllable, which is gorgeous. All right. SION. For example, the word confusion. How many syllables do we have? Confusion. The rule says the stress should be on the second one, hence I will pronounce this as confusion. I will not say confusion, I will say confusion. Even if I have the word which is which could have just two syllables, even then I will stress on the second last syllable. Then I have the word which is TION, station. So two syllables, station. So I will focus on the second last syllable and I will pronounce this as station. Confusion, station, lotion. Alright. If I have more than two syllables, say for example I have rotation. So how many syllables I have? Rotation. Even in this case, doesn't matter how many syllables I am adding on the left side. My syllable stress will always be on the second last. Rotation. Let me add more syllables. Circulation. How many syllables? Circulation. And still my stress will be on circulation, because my stress has to be on the second last syllable. So that's about the syllable stress for the first rule, which is penultimate rule, which is word ending. You need to leave alone the word ending and you need to stress on the second last syllable. Then we have the next rule, which is antepenultimate. Antepenultimate means the stress will be on the third one. Earlier we were stressing on the second last. Now we will stress on the third from the last side. So please make a note of these word endings: CY, TY, ICAL, PHY, GY, METER, meter. Please make a note of these. CY, TY, ICAL, PHY, GY, METER. Alright. Now let's take examples from each one of these. Alright. Now I am going to give you example of word that ends with these endings. Or let me change the last one. So CY, for example, policy, TY, for example, enormity or calamity. Enormity means something which is enormous, which is big. Ical, for example, geographical. PHY, for example, geography. GY, for example, prodigy. Meter, speedometer, one E is missing here. It's pronounced as speedometer. It's not speedometer. Now you will understand why it's not speedometer, it's speedometer. GY, I'm going to give you a fairly easy word. Alright. So what does the rule say? The rule says if you have any word that is ending with these word endings, the stress has to be on the third last syllable or antepenultimate syllable. Alright. So let's take quick examples and understand how it works. CY, I'm taking the first one. CY, I'm going to use the same word, policy. How many syllables? Po-li-C. Right? Let me bring this here. Alright. Now the rule says the stress has to be on the third last. So this is last, second last, third last or antepenultimate. So my stress has to be on po. So we pronounce this as policy. If I increase the number of syllables, diplomacy. How many syllables do I have? Dip, law, ma, C. Again, my stress will be on the third last. So I will stress here and the pronunciation will be diplomacy. It's not diplomacy, it's diplomacy. Alright. The next one is TY. Any word that ends with TY. For example, calamity. Let me break it. Calamity. Calamity. Now, why am I saying calamity instead of calamity? Because my stress has to be on the third last. So my pronunciation will be calamity. Alright. So any word that is ending with TY, the stress will be on the third last syllable. Clear? Next, ICAL. Now you will wonder, ICAL itself has two syllables, acal, but that does not matter. We look at it as a word ending only. Say for example, tropical. Tropical. So it has three syllables, but this is the word ending here. So let me change the color. So what is the third last syllable? This is the third last syllable, and we pronounce and we stress here. The pronunciation will take a stress here, and we say tropical. All right. Say for example, magical. Magical. ICAL is a word ending. So we will focus here. We will stress here. Alright. Now let me give you a bigger word. Geographical. How many syllables? Geographical or geographical. So my third last syllable is GRA. Geographical. That's why I'll stress on geographical. Another word, political. All right, political. So my stress will be here, political. Clear? So that's ICAL. Let's move to PHY. Geography. So my syllable G. Geography. Geography. Now this O will take the stress here because that's a antepenultimate. Geography. If I increase the number of syllables here, for example, physiography. So I'll pronounce this as physiography. Let me break it. Geography. Even then, my stress will be on O because that is the third last syllable in the list. So physiography. All right. Next, GY. Energy. Now this is something a lot of people make mistake on in terms of the pronunciation. How many syllables do we have here? We have 3. We all pronounce this word as energy, energy. No, that's wrong. The rule says if you have a word ending with GY, the third last syllable from the right will take the stress. That's why this will be pronounced as energy. Not energy, it's energy. Another word, synergy. So the stress will be on C, synergy. All right. And the last one in this list, METER. This is the word. Now in this case, let me change it. Now this is an exception because here meter is taken as 2 syllables itself. All right. Now here if I take this as a 2 syllables, me and ter, do will take the stress. So I pronounce this as speedometer. So if you say speedometer, speedometer, that's a wrong and incorrect pronunciation. Speedometer is the correct pronunciation. There is another word which is odometer. Odometer, what does it do? It gauges the distance. In that case also, odometer will take the stress. Say for example, thermometer. So thermometer. So I pronounce this as thermometer. All right. So these are the word endings. Please do remember why syllable and syllable stress is important, because if you do not stress at the right syllable in a word, it can lead to misunderstanding as well. So if you want to be a great communicator, if you want to pronounce the words accurately, you need to focus a lot on syllable and syllable stress. That's very, very important. When you understand the entire sound clusters or the sound systems in English language, that is consonant and vowel sound, and followed by syllable and syllable stress, you will know exactly how to pronounce these words. Now that's not all. You need to practice a lot, and you need to focus a lot in terms of understanding the pronunciation. So what we learned so far in last 1 week, we learned communication tree, we learned about sounds, consonant sounds and vowel sounds we learned syllable and syllable stress. Clear? Now what we are going to do is, you are expected to practice, you are expected to pick words where you find difficult to pronounce words and wherever you have questions. The same words which I used earlier as example words for practice, I am going to do this one last time. But you are expected to go through the entire content on YouTube, and please post your questions on the YouTube comment section so that I can take a look at it. Let's have a quick practice, and tomorrow is a holiday. Day after, we're going to learn about the next pillar of communication, which is going to be grammar. All right. So let's take a quick look at these words for quick practice. All right. First, tongue, scene, rhythm, computer, geography, environment. Please don't say environment, it's environment. Government, plurality, determination, derivatives, apartment, disagreement, dislodge, coup, isolation, quarantine, gesture, against, abbreviation, annihilation. All right. So that's a wrap of the pronunciation segment. You need to practice. These are very, very practical oriented learnings. Until and unless you practice and ask questions, it's difficult to master. So please make it a practice of reading a lot and reading loudly so that you can work on your pronunciation. All right. I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.